Okay, thank you for coming, for attending. Today we're going to talk about all the points that we are presented in our last workshop in September, trying to help you guys with your decision if you should move from WISE option 5 to WISE option 6. And the idea is to give you the maximum content possible for you guys to decide, have an educated decision. This presentation, just for your some announcements here. First, I would like to ask you guys to keep your microphones on mute. I'm going to try to, present a bunch of information here. So if you could, please save your questions for after the presentation. That would be helpful because I'm going to really try to dump a bunch of data here for you guys to make the best decision so you have material for your decision making process. If you want to use the chat window, that's a good source for you to, save your questions. If you are participating live today in this event, you can throw your questions. If you're watching to the recorded version, of course, you're going to have to be happy with the questions that people gave us during the presentation. But you still have the chance, if you prefer, to go for the Facebook page. On our Facebook page, we're having the chance to set up a custom session if you have a more tailored question and you'd like to go in more details. If you're not participating in our Facebook page yet, we strongly recommend you to be there because that's where we are using. That's the tool we are using to maintain our users on the latest information. On your Facebook, just search for Wise Option Equine, and when you like us on the Facebook page, you stay in touch, and we always release all the announcements and everything what's coming up through Facebook first. So you're going to get the information fresh if you're there. Another thing that we strongly recommend, if you can, is to join us on the discussion group. There are two things. There's the Facebook page, and in the Facebook page, we also have a more inner part. You have to be accepted, and that's only for Wise Option users. And in the discussion group, you can put your items to the wish list. You can participate. You can throw questions. You can do some collaboration with other users, make questions directly to other users. How are they solving problems? And we're going to be monitoring and being the mediator. So for more in-depth knowledge, discussion group, it's a very good source as well for you to be with us. Well, we wish everyone, could move to as option 6 because that means we would be progressing, we would be moving forward. But however, not everyone is ready for the move yet. That's for sure. Especially because there's some costs involved. Um, that would be ideal scenario. We want to provide you, the resources for an educated decision. So after doing the multiple migrations, we can help you with the information that you can, just make some comparisons, see what's going on in the world out there as far as technology, but ultimately you make the call. So no question that Wise Option 6 is better. But at the end of the day, it's all about costs versus benefit. We, need to put on the table and make an assessment if this is something that's going to bring value. If you're willing to spend more money, of course, we are also looking for more return on our investment. And that's what we'd like to present you all the pros and cons and give you, the tools for you to make that decision and make the call yourself. Um, if we are going that direction, of course, we already made our homework and we believe this is most definitely a good way to go. But one thing is very important for us. First, we want to give you guys a good assurance. The last thing we want is for you to feel pressured to upgrade. We want and wish that your decision to upgrade, if you decide to upgrade, that your decision is fully based on the arguments we are going to present here today. So all the arguments we are about to present to you should be the basis. Therefore, our first commitment is that Wise Option 5 is going to be, still supported at least until 2022, if not longer, because we understand that some places are still struggling with some financials, and we don't want simply to cut them the opportunity to have their neat record keep going with the Wise Option current version. Most definitely, again, it's good to have everybody on the same page, but if it's not possible, please, let us know if you're having some financial struggle. Most definitely, we are still studying, but for now, at least 2022 Wise Option 5, there's is still support out there for you. The idea here today is exactly to give you, after analyzing all the pros and cons that you're going to face with the program out there. So what we want you to see is a list of the good things and everything that we measured so far here that you can do your decision. Wise option 6, we are on the latest technology. So the very first thing that you're going to see is to allow us to, um, be encompass what's going on out there in the world. Of course, the bad part of it, it brings more extra money that we need to invest. It's more money, new technology. In this case, Wise Option 6 is fully based on the cloud, and that's where the cost is. But with the new program is allowing us to have a browser type navigation, which means you can now multitask. You can have the a particular horse file open. You can have a daily worksheet. You can have multiple customers or billing in a multi in tabbed environment. So you can do multitask at the same time, and you can operate with the program. It's a long time wish list present in our to do here. Finally, with Wise Option 6, that's now possible. Before you would have to close to go to open, and to reach and achieve a different presence or direction in the program. So that's not no longer the case. Now you can do that in a multitasking environment. The con is that this multitasking environment is kind of a cloud situation, and there's a learning curve. Wise option 6 is way more customizable. Therefore, there's more things you need to learn and how to operate the program, and that's something that you should take in consideration before moving to this. It's way more complex because we do offer way more chances to customize the system. You have to learn how to set it up. Now, with the new technology, we are bringing more gadgets, more tools, and we are in a very fast development here. We are creating really nice tools, and that's, of course, in consequence of this new technology. With Wise Option 5, on the other hand, you're going to be, the source code is locked. We're going to keep providing support, but there's no more features, no new features in Wise Option 5. Everything new that we are about to develop is going to be only in Wise Option 6. Regarding the new technology in Wise Option 6 is allowing us, because it's in the cloud, we are close to the huge data centers out there. Actually, we are in a huge data center now. Therefore, we can reach and achieve resources for other technologies. For example, Wise Option 6 now can talk directly to Global Vet Link. From Wise Option 6, you can get your test exams, you health certificates, you can do, because the integration, you don't need to leave Wise Option to go to the Global Vet Link. From Wise Option 6, you can interact with Global Vet Link, because now we are in the cloud. Another integration that is already complete is QuickBooks. If you are using QuickBooks online, you can, from Wise Option 6, dump the data into your QuickBooks because of the cloud environment. So that's possible. There will be other integrations coming next year. We are planning to integrate Wise Option 6 with FedEx. So if you're doing your shippings, we would like to get Wise Option allowing you from the program to print your FedEx labels, and also let your customers keep track of the packages, just like e-commerces are doing out there. Since now we are in the cloud, is one of the several integrations we have planned for us next year. We're going to allow next year also for you to send text messages and keep a communication module. You can send a payment request through text message and receive the response directly from your customers. And that stays in your communication history that can be used towards your, if you have any litigation or process with that customer. So there are several integrations, very powerful integration that's going to make your business, more reliable, less liability, and streamline the operation and cash flow. Unfortunately, on the other hand, if you stay with Wise Option 5, there's no more integration that you can proceed. So there's a huge benefit for staying there. In Wise Option 6, there's also, again, because of the cloud, more advanced billing. The browser situation for e-billing in WISE option 6 is way better, which means your customers don't need more to ask you for several months of statements. They just change the date on the browser and they can see the last 2 months, 3 months, or actually the entire transactions, and they will open every single invoice and everything, the whole history, because they are accessing the data directly into your actual database, of course, limited to their action. On WISE option 5, you just have the basic billing. We do have the electronic billing, but it's very limited because the data is in your local computer, and that's very restricted. On the same pattern, you're going to have more advanced credit card processing. WISE option is now 6. It's a PCI, fully PCI compliant. We can give you the chance, for example, that you can put a new button on your website. Your customers go to your website, click on that button, and by clicking on that button, they will be entering the credit card directly into what we call their digital wallet. You never see the credit card number, but the card is there in the program and you can reuse every month. All you see is the last 4 digits and the expiration date. But still, you can, at the end of each month, payment full bill, or for extra every time you ship, you can have that information right at your fingertips. Just click the pay now button and you can charge your shipping fee without having to talk or type or digit. So streamline your operation, making you faster before the FedEx truck stop by your front door to collect the containers. WISE option 5, on the other hand, is still, does offer some sort of a credit card processing, but it's very limited. So you have to take that in consideration. Advanced form letters, you're going to have a full scope of how to create very nice custom contracts, or health certificates, or departure letters, or arrival sheets. There's a way more range of tools that it's available with the new language. And on the other side, the basic, it's just what it is, and all we have is an integration with Microsoft Word when you are in WISE option 5. Because the system in WISE option 6 is placed in the cloud, basically all you need is an internet connection. Therefore, you can be here, you can be in a different state, you can be in vacation, you can be on a sales, you can be on a different country, and you just open the computer. You can have WISE option at your fingertips. You can analyze some results, or provide information, make your decision making process on the go. So mobility is something that it's a huge factor in WISE option 6 for us to be on the cloud. On the other hand, there is this constraint, which is about an internet requirement. For you to access WISE option 6, you must have an internet connection, and not everyone is very comfortable with that requirement. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this down the road, because I'm going to tell you what people have experienced about this requirement, and we have some options. For example, one thing that you could do if you're not feeling very safe about your internet connection, if you think that your internet connection is not as fast as needed, you could put that to the proof by using your current WISE option 5, just setting up the cloud server. And it's possible for us to bring your WISE option 5, not the latest version 6, and put it there. And so you could have a test drive with your current infrastructure and test the situation before you make the big move. Because here's what happens. Once you move to WISE option 6, you only can go forward. If you have your WISE option 5 in the cloud server, you can have the chance to return to your local server in case that doesn't work. On the other hand, if you move to WISE option 6, you must stick with the cloud solution, because it's not possible to deconvert the database back into WISE option 5. So one very good alternative, as a matter of fact, we have a few clients currently with the WISE option 5, but having WISE option 5 on the cloud server. They just wanted to expose that experience first. And once they're feeling good about the numbers and the benefits, then you say, okay, we are going for WISE option 6 for good. If you're making that chance, you are allowing us, you are on the board with us as far as moving forward. you're helping us to stay in pace what the latest is offered out there, so we can give you also convenience with the other third party solutions and not be exposed to our competition as well. So wise option, our plan is to be the best software providers for you guys. But if we get stuck in time, it's going to cause a big gap, and someday down the road somebody's going to take that position. So unfortunately, by staying with wise option 5, actually we are pushing ourselves back instead of moving forward, and that's something that you guys should take in consideration as well. Kind of a very straightforward pros and cons about wise option 5 and 6, but there are other factors that I'd like to bring to the table and talk to you. For example, several of you guys have been used to that discussion, between the network guys and the software guys. With the wise option 6, there is an extra cost, but no more fights between the network guys and software guys. There was a time when you guys remember this very well, that if you have a problem, the network guys would say, "Oh, talk to your software people because this is a problem on the software." And as soon as you call us, we're going to say, "Hey, no, the software is fine. It should be something with your network." And guess what? You guys are right there in the middle. Now with this transition, we handle everything. We handle your infrastructure. That's because we are doing the right thing. We know how it should be set it up, and therefore the chance for problems is going to be way less. And if something happens, you are not in the middle. We should the ones to solve the problems for you, and you should get it fixed. Now, this, you know, thing that we would like to call your attention is to say, let's talk about the changes in the license cost. What happens as far as the license? How much you pay to Wise Option right now. So let's take a look. We know that we're going to have some infrastructure cost, but how about what I pay to Wise Option itself as far as the license? In Wise Option 6, those who are beginning today with Wise Option 6, they're going to have to not only pay, in the past, people would pay only for an installation fee plus the monthly fee, and off they go. Now in Wise Option 6, they have to pay an initiation fee. It's a cost for the development with the latest technology. In the trainer's version, that initiation fee for you to start with Wise Option 6, on the trainer's version, you have to pay $1,500 up front, the basic Wise Option. And if you want the equine breeders, which is the new name for the reproduction, you also have to pay $1,000 extra. So $2,500 if you are the equine breeders. This is the initiation fee in our license. Extra modules are going to be available. If you have the hospital module, you have to pay initiation fee of $1,000. If you want to have the new inventory control module, you're going to have to pay extra $1,000 initiation fee. And we also have what we call the impact modules. I can explain about the impact. It's more a massive impact. It stands for individual and massive productive action, complex actions in complex tables, complex tasks. So that's for comprehensive tasks that are needed. So the initiation fee is something new in Wise Option 6, but guess what? This should not affect most of you guys. And the reason is because we have come up with a very good current user discounts. So if you've been with us for at least 1 year or more, in the initiation fee, you're gonna get 25% discount in the initiation fee for Wise Option 6. If you've been with us for 2 years or more, you're gonna get 50% discounts. If you get 3 years or more, 75% off. And if you are with us for over 4 years, you don't have to pay initiation fee. So we have pretty good news for you guys that have been on board with us, because you don't have to worry pretty much. We have created this progress discount to benefit our long-time user. After all, Wise Option 6 was developed from the money coming from your subscription. So if you've been with us on the long run, therefore you don't have to pay for initiation fee. It's something that is going to impact those who are starting today. If you have been with us, no initiation fee. And if you have less than 4 years, you have to follow in one of these categories for you to have. As most of our customers actually, over 10 plus years, actually, the average in our clientele. So very likely you're not in that bracket to have the initiation fee. Other than that, there were some price changes as well in our monthly fee. For the trainers in Wise Option 6, the price went up from $99 to $149. If you are a trainer in Wise Option 5, you're paying currently around $99 per month in the subscription, and you should expect a $149 in our cost. If you are in the current reproduction as a breeders, equine breeders, if you have unlimited number of horses in your license and you already have the frozen modules included, actually you should be paying something like $399 a month today, and there's no change. So for you guys who have unlimited number of horses and you have the frozen modules, there will be no changes. I'm mentioning this because in WISE Option 6, it is required. In the past WISE Option 5, you could have up to 100 horses, up to 300 horses, and then the unlimited number of horses. And the frozen modules for frozen semen and vitrified embryos, that was an option in WISE Option 6. That is a requirement. We were splitting the number of horses and we were making the frozen modules optional, but the vast majority of users do actually have already unlimited number of horses, and they do have the frozen modules. And we were having this huge, cumbersome administration internally here in Wise Options. So we decided to say, you know what, we're gonna just make a flat fee for the equine breeders. Um, Looking at our numbers, the vast majority should not have major changes. It's $399 a month, and you should be good there. In other words, license-wise, what you pay to Wise Options should not have a big impact at this point. We guarantee that we're going to do the data transfer at no cost. So transferring from Wise Option 5 to Wise Option 6, it should be seamless. We just move the data and off we go. There's only one time setup fee. That's the fee we charge to instantiate the server in the cloud, make sure everything, and transferring the data. It usually takes about 24 hours. We can get the service done if we set up the time and we're going to be in sync with those who have decided to make the move. So our recommendation would be, close your billing, make sure that we have at least 30 days ahead, and then we schedule a date, we do the migration, we instantiate the server. We've been pretty active on this. Usually we stop late afternoon. In the next morning, usually you're good to go with Wise Option 6. Now, the next question is this. Okay, we are seeing that as far as the license, there's not change, but we are aware that we're going to have the cost with the new infrastructure. So no questions that we have tons of benefits offered by the new version. However, what is the cost? Before I give you the cost, we asked ourselves here in Wise Option, back then, when we were designing the program, can our users afford this? Does this extra cost for the cloud thing justify the benefits? That was the questions that we were having ourselves here to say how much can our users go and to measure if the benefits are worthwhile for this extra money. So there are basically two things that we did in our homework here in our analysis. One of them was to compare ourselves to other industry out there, what we call the external comparison. We'd like to say, okay, how is the horse business doing? How is the other business doing out there? And then we did another comparison was, okay, inside, let's see some numbers of expenditures that we have in the business and compare with what that would be for us to make a good analysis, good assessment. Starting with the extra comparison, the first thing that we tried to do was just go to our friend Google, and we want to know how much out there people we invest in information technology. And for our really big surprise, we saw that the numbers were whoa. The very surprise was analysis based in percentage over the business gross revenue. That was the very first thing. That's how everybody does. In average, across all industries, this is not horse business, but all the small businesses in average, all industries do an average of 3.28% of the gross revenue invested in technology. And in small businesses, it go up to almost 7%. That number, I really dropped my jaw. I said, what? I didn't know that. Among Wise Option users today, we estimate that it's not even 1%. So this first comparison shows that we are way below average, you know. And of course, that the surprise was that people are doing this external comparison based on the revenue. So if it makes sense when it starts the comparison at, the revenue. If we move our numbers from around 1% to let's say 1.5 or 1.8%, I'm not even asking for 3.28%. We would be happy in our industry, and the reality out there would be still different. At least we have a fair benchmarking here stating that the approach is not that outrageous whatsoever. As a matter of fact, if I'm asking for maybe 2% investment, we are still extremely competitive comparing to the other industry out there. At the end of the day, you know, veterinarians, business owners, of course, I understand that they first go for tangible items, a new ultrasound, a new X-ray machine, a truck, a new barn, etc. And they are still the front runner, on the decision making process. But it's proven that technology, when used correctly, does improve efficiency, reduce costs, and increases profitability. The adjustment to the new budget idea is just a matter of time. We're going to have to, cross out the budget, how it was, and we're going to have to bring to the table because, like I'm saying, the customers are expecting more from us. They want text messages, they want mobile apps, they want credit card processing, they want everything. And it's impossible for us to do all these new ventures and features with the same amount of money that we are investing. So we said, okay, we need to make this available because it's a matter of survival for Wise Option as a company. If we don't make this available, somebody else will. And we are trying to be as competitive as possible. If everybody's doing for 3.28%, I'm still willing to ask for way less than that. And we're going to see some numbers later on. The next one that we take in account, okay, this is talking about other industry, but we have our own reality inside our businesses, how we operate our business. And I'd like to make some comparisons, internally before saying, are we actually asking for a lot of money? So my question was, how much is the labor cost for one stall cleaner? Yes, the person who goes and clean the stalls. And I talked to several people. I brought some numbers, and I said that yeah, I could see that it's the labor just one person to clean is about $18,000. If you take in consideration the tax, the materials, the uniforms or the equipment and everything, plus some days off, calling sick. If you put all everything, it's going to be something like between 20 and 25 grand a year just for the person that cleaned the stalls. I don't want you to memorize this number here, 25 grand. The thing is that we're going to next learn about the costs that actually this infrastructure for Wise Option Cloud is going to be. And then I would like to invite you guys to make some comparisons. You know where I'm going with this. The infrastructure cost actually is that if you have one cloud server with two terminals, that's going to cost you extra $250 per month. One cloud server that allows you to have two computers connected at the same time to the cloud. It's $250 per month. If you have a cloud server with 5 terminals, that number goes up to $350 per month. There's a slight decrease here on the per user basis, but that's the number. I'm more towards this number here, as so far our average has been on the 5 terminals. If you have a very large operation and you need more than 5 terminals connected at the same time, additional terminals can be, in bundle of 5. There's no 6, 7, 8. Microsoft does either 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. You have to increase the number of terminals on a bundle of 5. So if every time you add extra 5 terminals to your own cloud, it's going to be extra $25. So let's say, for example, if you have a 10 terminal, it's going to be the initial 5 terminals for $350, and the extra 5 bundle, one bundle of 5, the additional $250. So the monthly cost for a 10 terminal, this is a very large operation, it's a $600. Our average so far, vast majority of our users has been around the 5 terminals. So I think a solid number everyone should consider it. It's the 350. If not, if you're a small operation, maybe the 250. But so far for us here has been the 350 is the most popular in-wise option. Now, one thing that I want to make very clear is that Microsoft stays with most of this money. I will not deny that we have a little percentage in this. We take a residual commission, but this number, most of the amount goes to the Microsoft. And the way Microsoft considers this, what we call terminals, Microsoft calls by number of seats. In other words, Microsoft considers number of connections at the same time. You can have, you can have you can have 10, 15, 20 computers. They don't care. We can set up 20 computers to be, able to reach the cloud. As long as you don't have 5 computers connected at the same time, you can have 20, 30, 50. Sometimes you have a computer at your house, a computer in a different location, a laptop that you carry with you, an iPad. So if you have all these devices, you will be able to, do the things. The number is that consider concurrent connections or seats, and that's the thing that you should keep in mind. I think that's pretty clear, but if you have questions about that, I can go for more details later. So let's pick some example here. We know already if you are a wise option reproduction and you have unlimited number of courses and you've been with us for more than 4 years, number one, there's no initiation fee because you're going to get 100% discount. Number two, there's pretty much very likely there will be no extra cost in the subscription plan because you're already paying $399, and $399 is the same cost we are charging for Wise Option 6. Basically, what you're going to have extra is the Wise Option Cloud with Microsoft. And I'm picking, as I have to choose one, I chose the 5 one because it's the most popular one here. So at the end of the day, if you move from Wise Option 5 to Wise Option 6, analyzing only the cost is pretty much the current $399 and you add up the extra $350. So you're going from $399 to $749 a month because of that extra cost with the cloud infrastructure. If we multiply this by 12, we are going for your current 4,800 to 9,000 annually. So that's the investment you have to make, $9,000 a year. But remember, that includes everything, the Wise Option license, the cloud server with those 5 terminals, our services to maintain the cloud server up and running for you, any Microsoft license, if Windows go from version 2010 to 2012 in the cloud server, this is not licensed in your local machines, but the license on the cloud server, everything is covered. And you don't have to worry anymore about backups because we're going to take care of backups for you as well. Changing tapes, you know, um, drivers or, USB ports or those things, it's not your problem anymore. You are outsourcing everything and you don't have the peace of mind. So all of these for $9,000. That's why I said, you know what, we better give it a shot and we need to move forward. Now, this is what goes from 4,800 to 9,000. I was taking a look at our average in gross revenue since everybody does in percentage out there. And we came to the number that trainers in Wise Option today are making, something between $100,000 to $300,000 a year. That's usually the average in revenue for a small training facility. What we consider a small breeding facility
it's going from 300 to 500K a year. A median operation, it's in average $1 million a year. That goes from 750,000 to 1.2, 1.3, maybe $1.5 million a year. And the very large breeding operations are there, most definitely making more than 5 million, a year. So for our comparison, again, I'm using the median size operation. So the number that I was crunching is in that range of $1 million. Bringing back and establishing a comparison to what we saw, that small businesses are investing today 3.9, and taking in consideration that wise option users usually invest in technology less than 1%. I was dreaming about 2%, but guess what? We won't need those. Even 2% is not necessary at this point. If it was 2%, a small training facility that makes 300K would invest yearly $6,000. A small breeding facility that makes around 500K would invest $10,000 a year in technology. Median operation, $20,000, which is 2% of 1 million. And large operation, oh my God, it's a lot of money. In technology, only 100 grand. We are talking about $9,000. Okay. So I said, yes, we most definitely, we should, you know, take in consideration, because in my average, looking at our current clientele, it's still $9,000, lower than 1% that it should be. Therefore, the breeding medium facility is just fine. So there's no question about that. The only number that really caught my attention here was about the small trainers, because they're making, let's say an average $150,000. But they don't need the equine breeders. They can get by with only the wise option trainers. They don't have the license. And also, very likely, they can get by just fine with the 2 terminals instead of 5 terminals. Therefore, they don't need $9,000 investment a year. Their number actually for small trainers is around $4,700, because they need less features and less infrastructure, which makes me think that even small trainers in our case are good candidates to move, I mean, financially speaking, to the new environment, to the new bracket. Um, Most definitely the small breeding operation here, there are numbers available there, but the small breeding operation, I would take in consideration about the learning curve. If you get along with technology, if you need that extra feature, so it would be more considering the features than actually the financial. And if you're a large breeding operation, in other words, medium and large breeding operation, in my opinion, is a no-brainer, you know, taking into account the external comparison. Next, I'm going to make an internal comparison. I don't know if you remember, but we were talking about the stall cleaner, and we got to the number of 25 grand for the guy who cleans the stall. That's a number that really, really got me. I said, holy smoly. I bet is one of those comparisons that people say, I never thought about it. Because when you put in consideration about your system, and here we are talking about a system that will keep the entire health record keeping for your business. It's the system that will promote production workflow. It's going to streamline your business, it's going to make you more efficient. And we are talking about the system that is going to control the entire billing and the sensitive customer data. So we are also talking about liability with credit card information in a PCI compliant, so you can use the card multiple times. And on top of that, the state of art outsourcing the entire server license services in one package, and all of this for $9,000. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying for you to stop collecting poop, horse poop, because it's going to be really stinky. But you know what? It's even stinkier. It's not having your business in the latest. And I think nobody can afford, getting stuck in time, getting promoted by the financial lack of comparison. And I don't know. I thought if I might be wrong, but if this is not a good argument for you guys to move forward with this new technology, maybe I am the one who need to do something else. But and I don't say that literally. I think that what's happening is a swap. We're going to have to give the numbers of the budget allocation for technology a little bit more interesting thoughts, and we're going to have to make the point, because it's clear to me that there's a huge contrast. There's a huge dilemma here that I simply cannot swallow. You know, it's a no-brainer to me. So when you get to the point that say, okay, from wise option 5 to wise option 6, should I stay or should I go? It's ultimately your decision. But as far as support, as far as the benefits, as far as where to go with this, I have no questions that you should, think about this more seriously. And there's still time. For the learning curve, we're going to have approximately 3 weeks. It's what it takes for people to get accustomed to the new environment. For 3 months, people still get lost. Of course, it's a new system. You don't know where things are. But after the third month, we already noticed. That's based on our experience. Remember, we are doing this for the last 2 years. We stayed 2 years developing the Wise Option 6. And for 2 years, we've been testing the program with other users. And those 2 years told us that, it takes about 3 months. After the third month, people say, I have reached the point of no return. So this completes my presentation as far as our analysis arguments. And at this point, I'm going to be checking our chat window. I'm going to also open the channels for your microphones. Feel free to jump in and make your comments. I would like to see if you guys have any insights you'd like to post. Microphones are now open, so you feel free to make your, comments here if that's the case. I just received one quick text message here that is asking, about the cloud thing. There's a few more questions about the cloud. Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, the question is, what is about this cloud thing? How does that work? So, you know, we were trying to think about this cloud thing, and one of the questions that people have is, people get nervous about having the internet dependency. And here in Wise Option, I was thinking about the thing. One thing that for sure, there was a time you guys were very concerned about the redundancy in your backups. You would have tapes, you would have CDs back in time, and then we would have the new flash drives. Uh, Now it changed to your concern now is about redundancy. Instead of concerned about the backups idea, your concern is now to have your redundancy on the internet connection, because without an internet connection, you cannot have access to your data. First and foremost, the DSL, it should be your first alternative, but not the only one. Anyone now today carry on their pockets a hotspot. It's your phone. And what I've seen is people now trying to have multiple hotspots. You can have one employee with Verizon, you can have another employee with AT&T, T-Mobile, or Sprint. The point is that if your DSL goes down, you just make one of your phones the hotspot. If your area is not good with AT&T, you use Verizon. If it's not good with Verizon, you try T-Mobile. But the point is that redundancy on your internet connection is the fact that we should be concerned about from this point on. It's the point where you say, you know what? If my DSL goes down, I go for carrier A. If that doesn't work, I go to carrier. But if all the carriers are down, we better run because something really bad is happening out there. Redundancy on the internet connection has been the solution. And remember, there are pressures. Banks, retail stores, auto industry, everybody is going for bank, financial institutions, the healthcare, I think insurance, everybody's dependent on the internet. So the infrastructure is way better than it was. The cloud thing that you guys are asking me here on the text message, it's trying to have. So I think I'm answering pretty much good this answer about the redundancy number one, and the mobility and having the data. It's something. Our intention here was to keep the records in a centralized location. Okay, so Wise Option Cloud, we are putting the data instead of the data sitting on your dusty server sitting in the closet somewhere back in the office. We're going to put in a data center, and we're going to move the SQL server to a position where the data is going to be there for you guys to, have the peace of mind and transfer, outsource that responsibility. And in our case, we are picking Microsoft Azure to be our data center. We here at Wise Option, we keep still doing just development, the software part. And Microsoft is we are Microsoft partners, and we don't have servers. It's everything maintained and kept into Microsoft's data center. We like that idea because once we have the data available in the cloud, we can do those integrations. We can work like Global Vet Link, QuickBooks, FedEx, and many more. We can do other and and we can create other types of interaction where users can have the Windows application to keep using the regular Wise option. Excuse me. Then we can have your customers using the web browser, or even employees using their web browsers to other tasks. And we're going to come big on the mobile apps because now you can in Wise option, and we are working as soon as you guys dive into the breeding season next year. Our plan is to go big on the mobile apps. Of course, that we cannot have the entire Wise option in a mobile app because it's too large to fit in a small device like that. It's not as efficient. But we can create the extensions like customer files, customer accounts, patient files, procedures, daily worksheet, treatment lists, and so on, location management, add procedures, check the list, daily worksheet for reminders. And when you work with your mobile app, because you are going to the cloud server database, you're changing the same source. So if you change something on your mobile app, and then you go to the Windows application, you are going to the same source. It is impossible for us to do that kind of interaction with the data sitting in the closet, in the dusty server, there where you're working at. I understand that there's the comfort about, okay, it's a breeding day and we don't have, the server is here. I can appreciate that. But with the redundancy on internet connection, then you are opening the gates for answering the questions that, remember, are coming from your customers. We here are suffering huge pressure from customers saying, I want to send a text message. People don't even send emails anymore. Before it was fax, then it was email. Now people don't have the patience, not even for emails. They want text messages, and they want those communications back and forward. And not only that, they want history. So we need to keep that. So we are developing the new communication modules in Wise Option, only possible because now we have the data in the cloud. So the next question is, what is this cloud thing? Does my data stay in a satellite up there in the universe running surrounding the planet? No, that's not it. The cloud is actually a building, a data center where there are very fancy computers and very state of art with the fastest internet connection you can even imagine. And that, data center, it has a lot of redundancies. They have redundancy in power, supplier one, two, and three, sometimes three suppliers in electricity, but they also have generators, generator one, two, and three. They have redundancy in air conditioning. The buildings must be in a structure that is resistant to earthquakes or tornadoes, security, disaster proof if somebody tries to break in. So it's only a fancy building with a bunch of computers. And, it's very neat place, but of course it has a cost to maintain that. It's a different environment from keeping a dusty closet with a computer inside there. So we chose to work with Microsoft Azure. And when we are choosing which data center to work with, I was doing my homework and I said, okay, why Microsoft Azure? 90% of the Fortune 500 companies are with Microsoft Azure. Most definitely, they're not the cheapest. Of course, with the 500 Fortune companies over there, I try to look at the cost for Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, Amazon Cloud, Dell Cloud. There are several options out there. Microsoft Azure is at least 30% more expensive than everybody else, but they are the ones who are offering the best backup and the best redundancies. They really promise 99.8% uptime, so no data down, and that's what made me go for the decision to stay with them first and foremost. And compatibility. So the cross-platform. It was another thing that made me go for the option to stay with them. So Microsoft Azure, I'm willing with the 99% and having the 500 companies, because at the end of the day, the next question is, okay, we do have a redundancy in our internet connection, but what if Microsoft Azure goes down? Well, imagine that we are in this blue, beautiful ocean and we are swimming, all there happy, and this is one of the 500 Fortune. I'm gonna tell you something. If something happens to the Azure cloud, these guys are. This is one of the 500. They are going to be really, really mad. Therefore, Microsoft cannot play with that, and we'll be there swimming with them. We're just that little fish would be all of us combined, to be swimming with them. So I chose, to stay just because that was a no-brainer for me to stay with the people who are really going for the best. So having all of this, again, we come back to, should I go to WISE option 5 or WISE option 6? It's all about outsourcing, having a peace of mind, being on the latest technology with a cost that is not outrageous, especially when you do the external and the internal comparisons. I'm feeling very good about both comparisons to give you guys alternatives. And of course, at the end of the day, we are still promising you the customer support that Wise Option primes to be, 5 stars. And we are really happy about this. And this is a commitment. We just want to give you guys the flexibility to keep moving forward, stay, in compass with your customers, make your business profitable, give mobility, streamline, improve cash flow, and improve efficiency. Wise options, the first and foremost is to be, in a commitment with your success. And I believe we are bringing to you a pretty good option. Again, should you have more questions to us, please don't hesitate. You can, come up with your own Facebook, go to our Facebook and schedule a time. We can do a session and we can, come up with a situation where we are going to make the thing to your desire. And we are going to get this, to your own questions and answer that to your full understanding. But I think that the session today was very important for us to get to this point and get everything ready for you. Guys, thank you so much for coming. For those of you who are watching so far, I appreciate your presence. And I really thank you for your trust in Wise Option. And we'll be here for until the next time. Thank you. Have the good rest of the day.